about to fellowship and get into some juicy conversation. Again, you have just tuned into the hottest grown and sexy adult conversation piece out of the Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. My name is AnGala Portorreal. I am the diva of the talk show, the business, the brand, and the ministry, as well as the podcast. Yes. Thank you for tuning in and stopping by. It is with a heart of gratitude that I am just so grateful for all of you, my new subscribers, my new supporters. All of you guys matter. Without you guys' support, the accomplishments thus far would not be possible. So I need you to know that I sincerely appreciate you tuning in, checking out the show, stopping by the social media pages periodically, checking in, dropping a comment. And for those of you who share my content, you hold a special place in the diva's heart. So I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope 2022 has been good to you guys thus far. And let me take a moment to say that I can acknowledge that everything didn't magically change for any of our lives at the stroke of midnight, when 2022 came about. But I hope that as the year progresses, that things will get better, that you can turn things around in your favor, and that everything that you are working on, everything that you want to accomplish, I pray that you stay motivated, stay encouraged, so you can see the manifestation of your hard work, your due diligence, your effort, all of that, your prayers, your tears, your crying out for help to the Lord to help you get some things accomplished. I hope that 2022, as it progresses, that those things manifest for you and you can give your testimony wherever you seem fit that it can be done. All right, yes. So if you have not had a chance to check out any of the social media platforms, guys, please go and follow me on Instagram, Facebook. My YouTube page is the one that struggles the most, but you know what? As long as you watch this television show, I'm super grateful because right now that is my focus, my television show and my podcast. Please subscribe to DivaSpeaks Relationships Podcast, okay? You can find it wherever you listen to podcasts. So yes, please subscribe to the podcast. There is a live show that I am in preparation to do within the next couple of weeks or so. I don't want to give you any misinformation, so just stay tuned, stay connected. Make sure you subscribe to my podcast. My hosting site is on Podbean. So if you subscribe to DivaSpeaks Relationships on Podbean, then it'll notify you when I go live, or I think it, gives you some type of notification so you can tune into the conversation. And if I got time to open up the phone lines, and if you have a comment, if you want to exchange a story, if you want to give some feedback, then I'll definitely entertain you on my live show. So I'm not sure where you are watching the DivaSpeaks Relationships talk show from, but let me go ahead and let you know that DivaSpeaks Relationships has its own Roku channel. You can find it in the Roku channel store. So make sure that you download my Relationships Roku app and add it to your Roku television programming. And again, I don't know where you're watching me from, but I'm super grateful that you're watching me. Okay, let's be very clear about that. So if you are watching me from Access 21, there it is. Now you know DivaSpeaks has its own Roku channel. For those of you that don't know, DivaSpeaks Relationships streams on 3 different Roku channels. That would be the DivaSpeaks Relationships Roku channel, Access 21 Roku channel, and Creole Television Roku channel. Those are 3 channels you can find the DivaSpeaks Relationships talk show. Also, my talk show airs on Spectrum Cable. That would be channel 21 every second and fourth Friday of the month, as well as AT&T Uverse, channel 99, I do believe, especially if you are located in the Carolinas. You can find me once again, channel 99 on AT&T Uverse and Spectrum Cable, channel 21 every second and fourth Friday of the month at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because you may not have a Roku television and you were like, what the hell? Okay, one more bit of information. You can also stream my show live on Access 21 on the website. okay, which is tvaccess21.com. You can always circle back to my website for any information that you feel that you may have needed during my delivery, during the show. Just go to diva-speaks-official.com. That information is at the beginning of the show and as well as on the way out of the show. So, oh my God, that was so much information, right? So here's a little bit of change that you can expect from me, and I'm going to be incorporating it into the talk show moving forward. I have introduced a new segment called Talk That Talk with DivaSpeaks Relationships. I started it on my radio station, which is on Station Head Radio under DivaSpeaks. Again, Station Head Radio, if you know about Station Head, you can add my channel or my station to your programming. It is under DivaSpeaks, of course. But I have started a new segment called Talk That Talk, where I get the letters that I come across and I respond to them, and I entertain the letters that seem to have a common topic, issue, challenge, or theme to them. It seems to be something that in that particular letter that I read from someone who is in distress, whether it be a male or a female, I read it because it seems to be something that is not brand new. Somebody somewhere is going through the exact same thing. It may be you, it may be something I may have went through, at one point or time. But I read those letters and I give you the feedback, and it's maybe anywhere from 8 to maybe 30 minutes at top. I'm going to try to incorporate that in today's show, but I don't know how that's going to go. So just look forward to Talk That Talk with DivaSpeaks Relationships. Now, if you follow me on my social media pages, you definitely get the tea, honey. You get a snippet of it. I read that letter, I dice it up, I give you my feedback, and there it is. So this is my way of connecting with you more frequently and to keep up with what's going on, across social media with different situations that are happening to people who are in relationships as a whole. I didn't think it was fair to only see you twice a month. Okay, so there it is, guys, ladies and gentlemen. You have all of the information that you need to stay connected with me. Oh my goodness, I'm getting tongue-tied. And so I just I would ask that you join in with me. Let's link arms across all social media platforms and keep the conversation going. I'm excited about the Talk That Talk, honey. When I tell you, if you ever felt that you was going through something and that you was alone, or you knew you wasn't alone, but you didn't really want to talk your business because your business is your business and you're a private person like myself, well, tune into the letters, because more likely than not that I'm going to be speaking on something that may be very familiar to you, and you could take a bit of encouragement from what I am talking about during the letter. All right, amen? Yes. So let's get this show started. Now, when we last left off, guys, at the beginning of 2022, the very first episode on the talk show, I talked about terms and conditions for your relationship. Going forward into the new year, for those of you who are reconciling, for those of you who have entered a season of restoration with your relationship, for those of you who are on the dating scene, for those of you who are entertaining new relationships, what are your terms and conditions for your relationship? What have you learned from previous experiences, mistakes, what worked, what didn't work, that you want to move forward and implement as you carry on throughout the year and in that current relationship of your life? What are your terms of use? What does a person have to do or not do to stay connected with you or to stay in that relationship? That is what we talked about, and we kicked off the year with that thing, terms and conditions. So tonight we are going to be talking about identifying the signs when the person that you are in a relationship with or married to wants out. They want out. They checked out. They want out. They want to end the relationship, and maybe they just have not expressed that verbally to you. Yeah, I want to talk about that with you tonight. So here's how the idea was born. I was watching this show. Oh, and by the way, I just want to go ahead and let you know right now that this particular topic that we're talking about tonight more than likely is going to be broken up into 3 parts, okay? This is part 1 of identifying the signs when the person that you're in a relationship with or married to wants out of the marriage or out of the relationships, or identifying the signs and behaviors that point to they've checked out and they want out. Again, this is going to be a 3-part series. I'm going to try to wrap it up in 2, but don't hold it against me. You know, guys, sometimes we come across information and talking points that you just can't skip right by. You have to really dig into that thing, and that's what I want to do with you. So this is how the idea for this particular topic and the show was born. So I was on the Discovery Place or Discovery app. That's one of my favorite apps. It's my go-to app. I could just watch the shows that come on that app all day, every day. But I found a new show. It was new to me. It may not be a brand new show, but the show was new to me. And the title of the show is Addicted to Marriage. Oh my goodness. And it follows the lives of several different people, couples, and someone apart, you know, there's 2 people in the relationship, but one of the members of the couple has been married multiple times. And so we're following that person's journey as they try a stab at love and marriage again. Okay, so that's my definition of, or how I see the show. So in this one particular scene, there's this one couple. This lady had been married, I believe, a total of between, don't hold me to it, 9 or 11 times, between that number. Seriously, this woman had been married a total, I think if I remember it correctly, 9 times. She's in this relationship right now, and the man that she's in the relationship with is very frugal. She's not working. Or if she is working, is part-time. I don't recall her having a job as I watched it, because I thoroughly watched it, where her spending habits have become a major issue in their relationship. It's tense. There's tension because all she wants to do is shop, spend money, and she's spending money that her fiance has allocated for the bills. He has communicated to her, as I'm watching the show, because I watched it from beginning to end, he has communicated to her several times that her spending habits was causing, him stress. He was not able to pay all the bills because she kept spending the money on bullshit, okay? And so she wasn't paying attention to it. She was creating issues, or continuing to create issues that could have easily been resolved by her getting a job and contributing to the household finances, or just, cold turkey, stop spending frivolously money that you have not earned, that he's taking care of the both of you with. So this one particular scene, guys, it struck me. The night before, they had an argument. He slept on the couch, she slept in the bedroom. He got up the next day, he went to work because he's the only one working. When he gets home, she's on the couch and she is ready to have the conversation because her emotions have bubbled to the surface. He's walked through the door from a long, hard day at work. He looks at his fiance on the couch and he automatically knows this is not going to be a good evening for him. As she's talking and she's crying and she's expressing to him how she wants to make it work, and she's pointing out everything that he's doing in her eyes to her to make her unhappy. I'm looking at, and the camera's facing him at some point. You know how the camera does. It goes back, it goes forth, depending on who's talking, and they look at the other person, to see their reaction to what the other person is saying. I looked at that man and his facial expression, his eyes were blank. He had literally checked out of not only that conversation, but the relationship. It struck me. I looked and it was just something so familiar to me about that particular scene. I mean, she was bawling her eyes out. She was pleading with him to do this and do that, or this and that, and you don't show me this anymore, you don't do this anymore, and I feel like I'm the only one. And I said to myself, she doesn't even realize he doesn't want it anymore. She's so overwhelmed with emotions. She's so, right now, her emotions are all over the place, and understandably, she's distraught, she's upset, you know, she's in love with this man. Her relationship is out the window, and she hasn't taken a breath to realize that he's checked out. There's nothing you're going to be able to say to him in that moment that's going to turn this thing around. Now, before I continue with this, I always like to tell the people who tune into my platform, I am a woman of a particular age. I've been through many things in my lifetime. I've had a few relationships under my belt. I mean, this is my second marriage. So, I mean, I've been through a few things. And that particular scene brought back some memories. And I said to myself, how many people are in relationships that are crumbling or failing at this moment? You know that things are spiraling out of control, but you haven't connected the dots to be able to identify or, diagnose what's going on with your partner. You can list what's happening, but you haven't said to yourself or acknowledged, my woman, my man, my husband, or my wife has checked out. They literally want out of this relationship. This is why I'm feeling like this. This is why they're doing this. This is why these things are not happening, or this is why these things are happening. Can we talk about that for a second? Can we talk about some of the signs that you or someone you know may be experiencing because the relationship is in a season of crisis, but you haven't been able to put two and two together? So this show, this particular episode, is what inspired tonight's topic, okay? And by the way, spoiler alert, they broke up. And he was not at all, he didn't give a damn. It's so sad. So let's talk about some of the signs that point to your partner, your spouse, your significant other, the person that you are in love with, the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, the person that you have children with, the person that you live with. All of that. Let's throw all of that in the bucket. And let's talk about what the signs look like, okay, when they want out. And I have gathered my information from several sources. I didn't pick this off the top of my head. No, I did not do that, okay? I didn't scratch my head and come up with something. No, I did not do that. But I did, okay? I did my homework. I consulted some professionals. And this is a laundry list of things when you add more than one or two of them together that are pointing to they want out, they checked out, or your relationship, marriage is in serious trouble right now, and this is the time to seek some counseling, therapy, get into a ministry that can help try to support and sustain the relationship before it falls all the way apart. You know, I don't know what you need to do, if it's salvageable or if it's salvageable, but we can talk about some of the things, what it looks like. Okay, so number one, and this is not by order of importance, this is just how they came about. Number one, have you noticed that you are no longer a priority for the person that you're in this relationship with? If their priorities have shifted, something has happened. Some other things have shifted too. But if you can acknowledge the fact that you no longer are a priority, they've shown you time and time again through their actions that you're no longer a priority, your needs, any matters that come to you or the relationship, signs point to some other things have shifted and you've reached into the danger zone. Okay? Number 2. Ooh, this brings back memories. Not so good memories. Okay, number 2, I could identify with that. When you're together, does it seem like they're a million miles away? I mean, the two of you are together, like in the house together. You know, you're at the movies together, you're out to eat together, maybe you're lounging around your home together. You know, physically they're with you, but you can tell that blank look or that distant look in their eye. You can tell the body is here, but their mind is somewhere else. Clearly, their mind is somewhere else. Have you noticed that? They're a million miles away, or we call it spaced out, or they zoned out, and you see it quite frequently. They're only there in body, but their mind is somewhere else. Makes you wonder what else is there too, right? Okay, we're gonna move right along. Okay, so number 3, phone calls get less frequent and shorter and less meaningful or authentic. Have you noticed that once upon a time it was effortless for the two of you to talk over the phone, whether the both of you were at work or you were, reaching out to one another during lunch and breaks. If you was out for a day of shopping or they were out with their friends, periodically the two of you would chat or whatever. But now it's like pulling teeth to get them to call you, or if you reach out first, they're very short. They got something to do. They make an excuse to get off the phone. They really have no conversation with you. They're asking questions, but you can tell that they're really not interested in anything you have to say. Or if you dare ask a question, they feel like you're probing and prying and they don't want to answer, or they start an argument in an effort to get off the phone to not be able to engage with you. Have you noticed that? Something's wrong. Something has shifted. Now, I'm not going to talk about what it could be. We're just going to talk about, during these particular episodes 1, 2, and 3, the signs that point to they've checked out, just to be clear, okay? So phone calls have gotten less frequent. They don't want to talk to you over the phone. They're not reaching out. They have less to say. And they definitely don't want you asking them questions. Probably something as simple as, how was your day? Probably could fall by the wayside, because they're thinking you're trying to get in their business, or why you asking me that, when this is what the two of you have been doing during the whole relationship. And now all of a sudden it's a problem for you to ask them about their day. Pay attention to that. Something is brewing and about to bubble to the surface. Something is going on. And I'm going to tell you what I've always heard. When their conversations get shorter and shorter with you, the conversations are getting longer and more intense somewhere else. Okay? All right, so we're going to move right along. Number 4 kind of works hand in hand with number 2. Number 2 was, remember, you feel like they're a million miles away when the two of you guys are together, right? You know they're there. I mean, you're in one another's company, but it feels like you're the only one present, right? Okay. So this one is, you can really sense and you feel them pulling away. You feel them withdrawing, or you feel them withholding love and affection from you. You feel them pulling away. You feel the emptiness and the void at what used to be filled with love and a closeness that the two of you shared is absent, because they're pulling away. They're creating distance in the relationship on purpose. Have you noticed that? Can you be honest with yourself and say, you know what? Yeah, now that you mentioned it, Diva, I've noticed that. Okay, pay attention. make a note of these things. And I always like to tell you guys, I'm not telling you anything brand new. I haven't discovered anything. I'm not telling you something that you don't already know. I just have the ability to bring it to the forefront of your mind at a time that you may need this information, okay? So let's move right along. Oh, this goes back to what I was just talking about, okay? They stop asking you about their day, okay? They stop asking you about your day, and they have no interest in you. They don't want to, you know what, and I'm going to circle right back. And I'm not repeating myself, but I feel it's necessary that I address it. When your man or your woman doesn't take any interest in you anymore, that's always problematic, because why are you not interested in my life and what I got going on, or my work? Or once upon a time, you couldn't get enough of me, and now what? It's like you have no interest whatsoever. What has happened? Why did that change? Where did that come from? What happened? And you know, part of me wants to say, because I'm laying it out there on the table, that you are in a season of struggle. If you are experiencing any of these things, your relationship is in a crisis mode, okay? Something has went wrong. Something has went far left. And now you're seeing things play out in front of you because somebody has checked out, whether that's the wife or the husband, the female or the man, whoever has done it, okay? But part of the reason I think sometimes that they stop asking you about your day and they don't seem interested in anything you got going on is because if they start asking you, then you're going to reciprocate. You're going to want to know, baby, this and that, and you're going to start asking questions that they don't want to answer. They don't want to answer because they don't want you in their business. See, anytime they're out there doing someone wrong, if you are breaking vows, if you are cheating on someone, if you are interested in someone new, you know, if you are wanting to explore a new relationship, but you don't have the courage, you're not bold enough to tell the person that you're already in a relationship with that I want out because I found somebody else I'm more interested in, then you shy away from questions that would lead them to figuring it out. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to share anything with you because the smallest little detail or slip up could give you the biggest clue as to what they've been doing or are currently doing behind your back. So, the best way to avoid any of this, I'm just not going to ask you. Oh my goodness, guys, I'm sorry, my earrings are just as loud, but I love them. Don't you love them? Okay, talk about ADHD, huh? Okay, but yes, True Face by Grace is where I got these earrings from. But anyway, just in case, I know some of my ladies always love to know where I'm shopping and where I'm getting my things from. But anyway, back to it. So the way to avoid being figured out or their dirty deeds being discovered is, I'm not going to ask you anything. Therefore, you have no right to ask me about what I got going on. Okay? So, moving right along. Okay, so, here we go. When it comes to spending time together, this could apply to the both of you. But we're going to talk about it from your vantage point. When you bring up spending time together, when you suggest any kind of activity or date night, do you feel or do you see by their body language that they're dreading to spend time with you? Does it seem like this is the last thing in the world they want to do is to spend time with you? Like spending time with you and making quality time for the both of you in the relationship has now become problematic for them. They don't want to do it. They create arguments. They do things to get out of it. Or perhaps some of you are being ghosted when plans are made to spend time together. Do you dread, okay, how about this? Do you dread asking them or bringing up spending time together for fear of what they're going to say, or for fear of them disappointing you by ghosting you or coming up with a million reasons or lies as to why they can't? When once upon a time, the two of you loved being around one another and enjoying one another's company. But now it's a problem. They don't even try to hide the fact that they don't want to spend any time with you. Or if they do it, it's like, you know, they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. They don't want to be there. They just want to get in and get it over with. Have you been feeling like that, or have you seen any of that? But you went along with it because you really wanted to try to connect with your man or with your woman, and you just wanted to spend a little time together, hoping that during the course of the date or the night, or the two of you being around one another for the day or for the night, that, you know, they would soften up, or you could get to the bottom of what's really going on between us, what's happening between us. They've checked out. And just like that man I saw on the show and his body language, I want you to start paying attention to body language. I want you to, you know, try to be attentive to the responses, okay? Be attentive to the responses and pay attention. Listen to what they're saying. Don't listen in an effort to respond to whatever comes out of their mouth. Listen so you can really hear what they are saying. Because again, if any of these things or a collection of these particular points that I have mentioned are showing themselves present in your relationship, and you know that things have went far by the wayside, something is wrong, you're in a season of struggle, come out of denial, and let's identify these things so eventually we can get to some of the solutions that may be available to salvage your marriage or your relationship, okay? Moving right along. So we've talked about so far. So if you're just now tuning in, so tonight we're talking about signs that your spouse or significant other wants out of the relationship or the marriage, or they have totally checked out. Mentally, they're done. They just haven't communicated that with you, okay? So far we've talked about you're no longer a priority, and you know this. They're a million miles away. Even when they're with you, you know that their mind, okay, emotions and spirit may be somewhere else, okay? They're there in the flesh, but their mind is a million miles away. We've talked about so far the phone calls getting less, okay? They're shorter, they're less meaningful, and they're not authentic desire. There's no authentic desire to speak with you over the phone anymore. We talked about you can feel them slowly pulling away from you. The more you reach out, the more you attempt to connect, the more you try to cement the bond that was there before, the more resistance that you are feeling because they are pulling away and distancing themselves from you, the relationship, the home, everything that you know, whatever it could be, they are pulling away. And we talked about dreading spending time together, whether that's them dreading spending time with you or you dreading bringing up the fact, when are we going to spend some time together, or let's plan a date night, because you know they don't want to spend any more quality time with you. Okay, so now let's move on and get into some more points. Okay, have you noticed that there are less or no more date nights? It goes back. All of this goes hand in hand. No more date nights. You know, the things that you used to do to intentionally create more love in the relationship and to connect with one another and to just really love on one another and stay in a healthy place in your relationship, they don't want that anymore. They'll use an excuse. I'm taking something from my first marriage and bringing it to you as an example. I remember one of the times bringing up something like that, and we had, over the course of the weekend, we were paying bills. You know, Saturday, how most couples, sometimes you get out and you run some errands, you know, you do some shopping, run errands, you know, do things that need to be done for the household, the kids, the both of you, whatever or however. But it was not anything that was meant to be, and it, you know, it's not for entertainment. It's business for the household or the family that we have to take care of. And I remember saying something to the effect of, you know, going out or catching a movie, catching dinner or something like that. And the response I was met with the response of, we've been together all day. Isn't that good enough? Are you experiencing that? Something has disconnected in your partner or your spouse. And I pray to God that you get to the bottom of it. Because no one should be in a relationship or a marriage where deception is going on of this magnitude, where a person is pulling away from you, where a person has no desire to keep the connection and the relationship strong and healthy, where there's no communication, okay, talking about whatever is going on with them. You're getting nothing and nowhere with your person. But we're going to continue on with the points. Okay, so we just talked about no more date nights, or they're almost non-existent. No more date nights. Okay, so this one is going to probably jump out at a lot of people. Has your sex life been affected? Is there less intimacy, less affection, or no intimacy, no bedroom activity? They don't touch you anymore. They're not affectionate with you anymore. They stop telling you that they love you. They stop coming to bed like that particular episode. He didn't even come to bed that night. Have you noticed that perhaps one argument or one blow up where the two of you went to your separate corners in your home, and whoever slept on the couch, they slept on the couch, and from that night forward, that is where they camp out every night? So they no longer come to bed. They stay on the couch, because they're creating more distance in the relationship. If you've noticed that the person that you're married to, or the person that you're in a relationship with, has stopped craving your intimacy, if they no longer reach out for you, if they no longer are affectionate with you, if they no longer communicate or express love for you, something is wrong. Something is horribly wrong. So if you or anyone you know has any of these symptoms, I hope that you are being active and present in whatever therapy, counseling, or preparations for your next season is being made immediately. Because when a person pulls away, no longer makes you a priority, less phone calls, no date nights, no intimacy, they've checked out and they're checked in and plugged in somewhere else. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Okay? Do not set yourself up for more disappointment by not acknowledging what's going on in front of you. Okay? When your man, because I always talk about it from a woman's perspective, okay? When your man no longer wants to touch you, when your man doesn't want to come home and get under those covers and cradle and cup with, touch that warm, curvy body, okay? You don't want to smell on this good smelling cocoa butter. What? When they no longer want to come to bed, you no longer want to lay hands on the woman that you call yours, right? On the woman that you are spending the rest of your life with, on the woman, okay, that you have had children with, on the woman that you've spent this many years with, on the woman that you gave your last name. Something has happened. You haven't been honest with her. You're doing things behind this woman's back. It works for both sexes. But remember, I'm talking right now from a woman's perspective. You're doing things behind this woman's back. You're not touching her. You're not talking to her. You're not spending time with her. And you think that she doesn't notice and she can't feel that? One thing about women is we were gifted with intuition. And intuition looks like having those feelings that something isn't right, knowing that something is wrong, can't put our finger on it, but knows without any kind of concrete, solid evidence that you're up to some bull crap. Knowing without a trace of evidence that you have betrayed us. Not knowing who, don't have a name, don't have an address, don't have a phone number, don't know who that person is. But women, we have that gift from God called intuition. And we know when our men stop touching on us, if you don't want to touch these breasts, you don't want to rub that behind, you don't want to travel your hands along the curves of my hips and grab my breasts, okay, and stick your tongue down my throat and other places that make a woman go crazy, you're doing something. You're doing something. And we know. And it is that particular feeling that makes a woman, it's almost like a liquid fire to some women. Not all women. Some women have some women have the gift of just sitting back and letting you do your foolishness. But there are some women that once we get that feeling and that feeling intensifies, right? Once we get that feeling and there's nothing about the way that you are moving makes that feeling go away. Or along with that intuition, God starts dropping more things into our spirit. It almost pushes us. It's almost like a force. It pushes us to get to the bottom of your bull crap, to get to the bottom of your foolishness, to find the root of the problem. We're going to get to the bottom of why you acting and treating us like you're doing right now. We're going to get to the bottom of it. And when we do, woo, I hope you're prepared to stay with whatever was leading you to treat your woman or your man bad. Because sometimes during the season of struggle, you, meaning the offender, sometimes that person has treated the spouse or the significant other so bad, so horribly, that they don't want anything else from you but for you to get the hell on, because you took them through too much. You see, during those moments where that person was reaching out, like that woman was, she was crying, she was pleading, she was asking questions, she was doing everything that I've seen so many women do. And I did that too. In my first marriage, I saw myself in that woman. Let me say again, I'm a woman of a particular age. You know, I wasn't born yesterday. I have a couple of relationships under my belt. And I can tell you that it's a sunken place to be in, to feel the person that you are in love with. In love with. It's like, I feel like I got it right. I love this person. I'm in love with this person. I'm not confused about who I want to be with. There's nobody else that I want to be with. We're just going through something right now and we're going to get through it. And then you start acting a damn fool and you treat us like you treat us. And we've been through it so long with you, and you treated a woman that bad during the stretch of when she was trying to get to the bottom of what the crap is going on with you. And she's asked you repeatedly, what's going on? Nothing. Why don't you stop nagging? Okay, I'm just saying, once that intuition, okay, has motivated her to get to the root of what made you treat her so bad, most of the time, most women don't want you back. You could have got it right. You could have stopped what you was doing. You could have stopped whatever you was engaging in. You could have ceased all bull crap that you were doing, but you chose not to. You chose to remain in the current relationship, not say anything, take this person, drag them through the mud, drag them through hell until they had to find out on their own what you were doing behind their back. But anyway, so let's continue on. Oh my goodness, with the signs that point to your significant other or your spouse or the person that your lover has checked out of the relationship. So now we've talked about the newest points was there's no more intimacy, or you're the one that's always initiating bedroom time or affection. They don't initiate anything. And you know what? Let me throw this in there. Have you been rejected? Have you reached out for the person that you're in this marriage or you are in this relationship with, or that you have the children with, or that you live with? Have you been reaching out and they create excuses not to be intimate with you? They create excuses not to fellowship with you in the bedroom. They create arguments so that they can continue to sleep in separate rooms, separate beds, or they sleep on the couch. Just one to think about, but let's move on, guys. Okay, so the next one is, and I'm going to check my time so that I don't go over. The next one would be, guys, and our final talking point for this first series. Have you noticed that, for those of you who are married, have you noticed that every single argument, every single disagreement, every single heated discussion always ends up with them telling you that divorce is the only solution to the problem? For those of you who are married, is divorce the only solution that your spouse seeks? Instead of turning to prayer, instead of let's go to counseling, instead of trying to find solutions that would move the two of you, transition the two of you out of this season of struggle, the only thing they can think about is divorce. They've checked out. And whether they will communicate or express to you that they are thinking about leaving, they want to leave, and or they've checked out, this is happening. My suggestion to you is that if you have noticed a few of these things on this list, and we got 2 or 3 more pages to go, because we're going to really get deep, we're going to dig into this. If there's more than one thing on this list that you said, this, okay, my friend, your relationship has officially entered the season of struggle and the danger zone. There's work to be done. You don't have to abandon hope, any hope of reconciliation, any hope of this, but you can never fix what you are not willing to face. You have to be able to identify what's going on, what's happened, why is this happening, all of that. But we're going to do it in the right order. First, we're going to identify the signs, and then we're going to continue those conversations, okay? So again, we've talked about all of the signs, divorce being the go-to place as the solution for everything. With every heated discussion and argument, they always talking about divorce. They've stopped coming to bed. They no longer want to fellowship with you in the bedroom. Hint, hint, wink, wink. You know what I'm talking about. You're no longer a priority for your relationship or your marriage. They're a million miles away. You can feel them slowly pulling away. There's no more alone time. They dread date night. They've ceased to wanting to spend time with you. All of these things point to something has went wrong in the relationship, and we're going to continue the conversation. We're going to continue to talk about the signs that point to your significant other or your spouse has checked out of the relationship and may be on their way out the door. So make sure, my friends, that you tell a few people about the show, and we can all tune in and come back the very next time the show airs and resume the conversation. Don't forget to tell all of your friends about the DivaSpeaks Relationship Talk Show. The talk show airs on the DivaSpeaks Relationships Roku Channel, the Access 21 Roku Channel, the Creole TV Roku Channel, and Channel 21 on Spectrum Cable, and Channel 99 on AT&T Uverse. Don't forget the new Talk That Talk with DivaSpeaks Relationships. And until the next time, guys, we're going to leave it right here. Until the next time that we get a chance to come back together and fellowship on some more juicy topics, stay blessed. And let's continue to have a wonderful 2022. Now the Diva has spoken. excuse to get off the phone. They really have no conversation with you. They're asking questions, but you can tell that they're really not interested in anything you have to say. Or if you dare ask a question, they feel like you're probing and prying and they don't want to answer, or they start an argument in an effort to get off the phone to not be able to engage with you. Have you noticed that? Something's wrong. Something has shifted. Now, I'm not going to talk about what it could be. We're just going to talk about, during these particular episodes 1, 2, and 3, the signs that point to they've checked out, just to be clear. Okay. So phone calls have gotten less frequent. They don't want to talk to you over the phone. They're not reaching out. They have less to say. And they definitely don't want you asking them questions. Probably something as simple as how was your day probably could fall by the wayside, because they're thinking you're trying to get in their business, or why you asking me that, when this is what the two of you have been doing during the whole relationship. And now all of a sudden it's a problem for you to ask them about their day. Pay attention to that. Something is brewing and about to bubble to the surface. Something is going on. And I'm going to tell you what I've always heard. When their conversations get shorter and shorter with you, the conversations are getting longer and more intense somewhere else. Okay? All right. So we're going to move right along. Number 4 kind of works hand in hand with number 2. Number 2 was, remember, you feel like they're a million miles away when the two of you guys are together, right? You know they're there. I mean, you're in one another's company, but it feels like you're the only one present, right? Okay. So this one is, you can really sense and you feel them pulling away. You feel them withdrawing, or you feel them withholding love and affection from you. You feel them pulling away. You feel the emptiness and the void, and what used to be filled with love and a closeness that the two of you shared is absent, because they're pulling away. They're creating distance in the relationship on purpose. Have you noticed that? Can you be honest with yourself and say, you know what? Yeah. Now that you mentioned it, Diva, I've noticed that. Okay. Pay attention. Make a note of these things. And I always like to tell you guys, I'm not telling you anything brand new. I haven't discovered anything. I'm not telling you something that you don't already know. I just have the ability to bring it to the forefront of your mind at a time that you may need this information. Okay. So let's move right along. Oh, this goes back to what I was just talking about, okay? They stop asking you about their day, okay? They stop asking you about your day, and they have no interest in you. They don't want to, you know what, and I'm going to circle right back, and I'm not repeating myself, but I feel it's necessary that I address it. When your man or your woman doesn't take any interest in you anymore, that's always problematic, because why are you not interested in my life and what I got going on, or my work, or what? Once upon a time you couldn't get enough of me, and now what? It's like you have no interest whatsoever. What has happened? Why did that change? Where did that come from? What happened? And you know, part of me wants to say, because I'm laying it out there on the table, that you are in a season of struggle if you are experiencing